Hey guys, so welcome back to the letter. We've got Luke's chapter here. We just met the ghost. So let's continue on. Here we go. She herself turns horrific. Her presence is suffocating, bearing down on me. I'm rooted on the spot through no fault of my own as my fear paralyzes.
You are too much like that vile woman. Poisoned by her rotten influence and her filthy words. But that can be remedied now that you're here. Oh, how we have waited to welcome you home.
Oh, run, Luke, run away.
Come, my lord. The house beckons.
Nope, nope, nope. We're staying in a hotel tonight. When her fingers grasp the back of my coat, I finally find it in me to break off into a run. Thank God. I can still feel her eyes on me as I run back to the house. Big mistake, but, you know, where else can we go? Oh, jeez. Here we go. Okay, so this is clearly after Rebecca's death here. Wanting some alone time and fresh air, Luke excused himself, lingering in the gardens as he remembered the memory of his late mother. Suddenly a beautiful woman appeared by his side, striking up a conversation with him. It was all pleasant at first, until... But I refuse to acknowledge it, let alone look back. All I need is to get away from her and to make sure she stays away. If that means acting like a coward and seeking out company to keep me safe, nobody can tell me to do otherwise. Bravery isn't something to be lauded if it comes along with stupidity. It must have been a sight to see the usually composed and reserved Luke Wright bursting through the doors. Is it night time already? Wow, that long, huh? Not that I have much of an audience, unless there are other staff members who's chosen to disregard my orders for them to leave. Really, I still doubt that woman is one of the staff. Mustering up the courage, I look back through the windows to see if she followed me. She's gone. But I don't take any chances, putting as much distance as I can between us. Stopping to catch my breath, Johann's sudden appearance nearly makes me jump out of my skin.
Don't fucking do that! You son of a bitch! If I had a gun, I would have shot you!
If I had any love left for my mutter, I'd take offense. But what happened to you? You look like you've seen a ghost.
Oh, you've got no idea, Johans. Oh, if only it was such a delusion. But I could still feel her sharp nails digging into my back. The feeling was too real for it to have been a ghost.
There was his housekeeper. I think, I'm not sure. In the gardens. She was acting odd and I thought to remove myself from the scene.
Strange. I made sure the rest of the stuff had left and that the house was empty as you requested. Describe this woman. Sorry, I had to do the voice.
She had pale skin, dark eyes, and long dark hair. She wouldn't give me her name.
I half expect a name from him. The man knows the stuff better than I do, after all. But instead of an answer, he grows quiet. I'm pretty sure that's not a good thing. I'm even more worried when the other man looks me over. I have to protest when he pulls back my collar.
What in the bloody hell are you doing?
Checking for marks. Needle marks, to be exact. We don't have anyone like that among the staff. You could have easily been kidnapped.
A cold feeling settles itself over me at the thought. I've long established my power over the more unsavory characters in Luxmorn, or I thought I did. And the most harm I thought that could come to me would be slander, robbery, or incarceration. Kidnapping? An attempt on my own person? I've forgotten that I'm as human, as mortal as any other man, despite my wealth and status.
Fortunately, you look unharmed. But I advise that you be accompanied by trusted individuals at all times from now on. If not me, an assigned guard.
Well, that explains why the security was ramped up later on in the week.
I'll be informing them of this soon, as they return from their day in the city.
Already, I can feel the energy leave me at the realization of what could have been.
All right. Yes, I suppose we should do that. But I think I'd like to call it a day. I should be safe in bed, yes?
I'll stand guard outside for the night. The madam has been inquiring about you, by the way.
A guard. Any other threat, and he alone would be enough to make me feel safe. But what I saw, whatever it is I saw, would one man be enough?
That's all well and good. But there's something else. That housekeeper. She.
Luke, you're home. I was worried about you.
It's just in the gardens, huh? The grin that I can muster is probably lopsided. Forced as I snapped my mouth shut to keep myself babbling about witches and monsters. Because here I am, standing in the hallway, dirt on my pant legs, and sweat dotting my forehead. A far cry from my usual pristine condition. I don't want to worry, Hannah. A cough.
What happened to you? You look like you wrestled in the mud and moss, dear. And those flowers. Were you gardening?
What? Oh, these. I didn't realize I still had them.
I really did not. But there they are, still in my grip, the daffodils I had taken from the garden. Even in the wake of my flight, I had refused to let go of them, whether I was conscious of it or not.
Shall I put them in a vase?
Should I give them to Hana or throw them away? What do you think, Luke? I think we should give them to Hana so we can repair our relationship and feel good about ourselves, yes? Why would you throw them away? Especially because they remind you of your mother, and you did say that Hana does remind you of your mother. Perhaps I did it to save face, or maybe a small part of me really had planned to take them for her. Good, it's repairing, it's repairing. But, like a young man presenting flowers to a Valentine's, I awkwardly thrust the bouquet in Hana's direction.
They're for you.
These are lovely, thank you. But aren't these?
The surprise is to be expected, and the open-ended question needs little interpretation. I've never given her daffodils before, especially not from the ones I consider mine.
They're for you. Don't make me think that kneeling around in the dirt was a waste of my time.
It's not. It's not. Just... Are you feeling alright? I hope whatever I have isn't contagious.
Oh, jeez.
I'm not sick, Hana. I just got them for you. I thought they'd make you feel better, brighten up the room. I don't need my intentions questioned. The thank you was enough.
And I didn't mean to insinuate anything. But you are right. Thank you, truly, for these.
She takes them from me then, careful not to crush the stems. There's still uncertainty on her face, which endears and annoys me in equal parts. But she does look lovely with them. The very picture of her is something that should be immortalized in paint. This should be for Mother. But doesn't matter anymore.
Why don't we turn in for the night? You must be exhausted with all that gardening.
What does a dead woman care for flowers? Alright, Monday. I didn't get any sleep. Not a single wink. I was so busy jumping at every shadow and worrying about waking with a knife in my chest. Or not waking at all. Even when Hana wakes, in spite of a mild fever, and goes downstairs for breakfast, I stay in bed, thoughts of poisoned food running in my head. The rain that has started sometime during the night doesn't help the mood. Okay, maybe it helps just a little. The strange sunny weather has been nice and all, but for it to return as it should be feels like a good sign of things to come. Perhaps things will settle back to normal, and the crazy drama that has gone on lately will die down. I would hate to be caught unawares in this rain. And with how it looks outside, it seems that the weather is making up for all the sunny days it's given us with a good old-fashioned downpour. The rhythmic pitter-patter of the rain fills the early morning silence with a steady beat. Thank goodness I don't have to be anywhere in a hurry today. I would hate to be caught unawares in this rain. I swear I just read the sentence. With how it looks outside, it seems that the weather is making up for all the sunny days it has given us with a good old-fashioned downpour. It does let up within the quarter of the hour. However, a day beginning with a cloudburst like this, locals usually take it as an immediate sign. Luck spawns abysmal, weather is back, likely for good. I hope they did a damn good job of fixing this place, because I'd rather not have to deal with leaky roofs. I don't like the idea that the realty did a horrid patch job with the place. Hana, technically, paid millions for this place. Better live up to the price the realty company sold it for. Roof problems aside, she's going to be a definite downer about this as well. She hates the rain. Then again, actually, who does? What sane person would like it when 9 out of 10 days consist of nothing but dark, drab, and grey skies and piss water pouring from the heavens? And she was just starting to enjoy the sunlight. I'll have to get up and about eventually, that's a given. But I'm not too keen on seeing or talking to Hana before she leaves for the hospital. Or eventually, in a few days' time. This bloody house. Kylie won't like it if she comes here, only to find me in a bad mood. Few would dare rouse me from bed. Being able to keep their jobs is incentive enough. I trust they realize that now is not a good time to force me into anything. Maybe I can just get an hour or two of sleep before Suarez drops his brat off the mansion steps. If only. But, as always, somebody has to be a buzzkill.
Are you really going to stay in bed all day?
What do you want?
You must have been really rattled by what happened yesterday. If you need to talk about it, I am quite qualified in that regard.
And you aren't even the slightest bit bothered? Truly? Not even the slightest bit worried?
I was worried. But I realized that it's not my life in danger, is it? My worrying will not help matters. Neither will yours.
Loath as I am to admit it, he is right. Still, it's more frustrating when he doesn't give me the time to concede his point.
I know you two aren't getting along.
Nosy bugger.
But you should at least see the madam off before we leave. Think of her as a business associate if you must. It would not do to part on bad terms.
It's far too early to deal with your nosiness.
That's none of his business. None of it. If he remembers his place, he'll drop it. I don't want to talk to Hana. Not now, when I'm so high-strung and paranoid. This whole thing is a bloody mess with everything going off at once. I'm afraid that, with our troubles, I'll misinterpret anything she might say or do. That'd just make the whole thing worse.
Are there any updates about the woman?
Being in the dark has me on edge. Information, any at all, may very well help me in calming down.
I've already briefed security about her, and more from the agency will be arriving tonight. But they haven't seen anyone fitting the description.
So you have nothing then? Fat lot of use you guys are. What do I even pay you for?
Isn't that a good thing that there's no sign of her?
Do me a favor. There's the door. Don't let it hit you on your way out.
Well, there is something. It's about McCulloch.
Can anyone blame me if I show the tiniest bit of interest? She's still not done with the house. She's a nice enough woman. Plans to go back to sleep are gone.
I called her secretary about taking the day off. He hasn't heard from her over the weekend.
Yeah, I suppose there's no reception down in the prison cell.
She's probably passed out after enjoying a pint or 2 or 10 in a bar somewhere. She's an adult. It was the weekend. She's allowed to disappear and not think about work. Fuck. I wish I was passed out after a night of drinking. He does know that mobiles are a thing.
That's all well and good, but she's not answering her mobile either. Mr. Parker will be filling a missing persons case with the police if she doesn't turn up today.
Certainly someone must know where she is. Tabs are kept, without fail, on people who come to work with me. Background checks and constant surveillance until they finish their contracts with the rights. Some would say that's all a bit over the top, but I can't be too safe. Too many people want me dead.
What about one of ours? Has anyone seen her? She's pretty hard to miss with how tall the woman is.
The last anyone has seen of her was here, the morning of the party.
Oh, great.
Your housewarming party.
That isn't good news.
It wouldn't do for the police to hear of this and to suspect.
It's of little import that I can easily prove my innocence. It's all a matter of principle. Because even the accusation of misdemeanor should not stain my reputation. Although maybe it is a bit too late to hope for a squeaky clean one. Besides, it'll be such a hassle to have the police poking about the house looking for a body that doesn't exist. Ooh, careful.
Now, if we're done here, I'd like to go back to sleep and...
No sleep for you, Luke. Well, there goes any plans of grabbing some shut-eye. Rolling over on my stomach, I can only scream into my pillow.
Of course, of course. Ugh.
Kylie, you should really take that advice and use your own indoor voice right now.
Johans, distract her.
Oh, look, it's time for me to go. Have fun with your little play date. So long, farewell, and auf Wiedersehen. Goodbye.
No, Johans, don't you turn away from me. Keep her busy for an hour. Come on!
I have to press my face against the pillow once more to suppress a groan. You just can't get loyal help anymore.
Hello there, little Fraulein. Your uncle is just upstairs and will be down in a moment. He is super excited to have you today. I hope you're well rested and ready to play a lot.
Bastard. I'll be down in a sec, Munchkin. Let me just...
Change into a fresh shirt, brush my teeth, fix my hair, bemoan my very existence. Wish I was anywhere else in the world right now. Don't get me wrong, Kylie's a great kid. Wonderful. Better than most brats her age. But handling a tyke is the last thing I want on my agenda right now with this whole Hana business. Fortunately, I'm well versed in how the world works. I've long learned that the show must go on, no matter what hurdles come in my way. So I sit to preparing for the day. Running a comb through my hair is just divine, and simply makes me feel more human. Bed hair is disgusting, though it isn't as bad now as it was when I was a child. With how expensive a trip to the barber was, I often had to grow it out until Mother had the time to cut it for me. The curls and tangles were simply horrid. Why, I was even mistaken as a little girl because of that. It certainly doesn't help that I was named Lucille. A freshly pressed shirt is enough to chase away the last signs of sleepiness. The feel of crisp and clean cloth in my hands is a clear marker to the start of the day. Smoothing down my suit and my hair with a sigh, I steel myself for the horrors. The horrors that come with taking care of a child.
Good morning to you, Luke.
Good morning. Speak of the devil, and she shall appear. Bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, Kylie grins up at me as soon as I open the bedroom door. She swings the backpack she's clutching, hitting my leg in a show of impatience and looking entirely unapologetic for it.
Did you just wake up? Don't tell me you forgot. It's our playdate today.
I doubt I'd forget. Kylie's visits are a frequent enough thing that they've found a way into my schedule. They're supposed to be visits to her godmother, but we can't pick who a child gets along with. So long as I'm not busy, her father can drop her off for the day. Which is all well and good for me if it makes Suarez focus on work I've given him. Besides, she's a bright child. Tolerable. Kid's got a good head on her shoulders and can get pretty mature for her age at times. Of course, they have to thank me for that. Her parents can take partial credit, but Hana and I have been there for this kid since she was just a small babe. Why, I can still remember the first time I saw her. It was during her baptism. The only reason I was there was to accompany Hana, who was to be named godmother. She was such a tiny thing, not even a year old, and swaddled in her mother's arm in white cloth. It was the first time I'd really saw an infant up close enough to hold one at least. It had been terrifying to be given a little child to carry after the whole water ceremony. I'd never done so before that, to hold a tiny life in my arms. I could have just dropped her on her head and this little tyke before me would have stopped existing then and there. But the child just smiled at me, babbling nonsensical words as children do, and clinging to me even as I tried to hand her off to Hana. She had thought it hilarious and adorable. My suit had been a mess, and I was nearly an anxious wreck by the time I handed her back to her mother. Yet it was pleasant, too.
Of course I didn't, you little rugrat. I just had to take care of something before you arrived.
Really? Well, I guess that's fine. As long as he told me for work like last time.
Really? Now why don't we go back down and have breakfast in the parlor?
I already ate at home. Papa made one of his tortillas de patatas. He wouldn't let me leave until I finished every bite.
Ah, the Suarez's infamous tortilla de patatas. Those things are a hazard. You can probably use one to bludgeon someone into submission with how huge they are. It's a miracle Kylie can still be so energetic. I had trouble staying awake the first time I had one. Speaking of staying awake.
Well, I need some coffee in me at the very least. But if you'd like, you can jump straight to dessert.
Yes! Dessert, please!
For breakfast. It's easy enough to manage Kylie with the promise of sweets, thankfully. Makes sense. The hard part is managing her before she gets the sweets, because I nearly have a heart attack when the kid races down the stairs. Just the thought of her slipping and breaking her neck is enough to make me rush down after her. I can't deal with people running downstairs. It terrifies me, especially if you skip a step on the way down. It gets to me. I'm afraid you're just going to fall down and snap your neck.
Slow down, the food isn't going anywhere.
I can do running upstairs, but running down, nah, that's taboo, man.
The food is going somewhere. In my tummy.
Jesus fucking Christ. Children.
Luke, language! With a shake of my head, I usher Kylie towards the parlor and order a maid to bring food for us. Whatever breakfast there is, along with a cup of coffee for me, and an ice cream for Kylie, for breakfast. But I can't leave the kid alone for too long, unless I want to let her turn to the other room into a slaughter ground. True to my expectations, I've only left Kylie alone for a few minutes, but she's already made herself comfortable. The stuff from her backpack has been left scattered across the room, from colouring books and crayons to toys. She's well equipped to amuse herself with no trouble, though I can certainly breathe a little easier if she wouldn't bring her doll every time she visits. Yeah, not gonna lie. Narcissa, or Sissa, is a creepy little bugger. It doesn't help when Kylie left her during one. Finding the thing at the bottom of the stairs staring up at me at 3 o'clock in the fucking morning is a memory I won't be leaving me anytime soon. Even now, it stares at me from where it's seated. I'm wholly tempted to just throw the thing into the fireplace and banish it from whence it came. I could buy her a prettier doll, a better toy. I'll break it, find a way to get rid of it, if it wasn't for Hana, and if only Kylie isn't so attached to it. The thing is some antique doll she found for the brat's 6th birthday, one of a kind. My darling Hana loves her so. And Kylie does try to be a good goddaughter, but she just can't keep her interest long with the wife. It's not something that Hana does wrong on her part. She does try so very, very hard. It's just that she doesn't quite know how to really handle children. She'd never been around other children when she was young, surrounded by protective adults, who were catered to her every whim and worried for her safety every minute. When she isn't able to keep up with Kylie, her first instinct is to be strict. Impose rules on the child, treat her as if she's made of spun glass, like every movement might break her. I, at least, have some idea of being around street kids. I know the games they've played and how they think. I know that scraps and skin knees are all part of childhood. Even with how I grew up, I had time to be a child and not some sheltered heiress. That's true, you need to let kids be kids. Can't protect them from everything. They need to learn some things the hard way, as harsh as that sounds. With Kylie, as behaved as she can be, with her toys and her books and arts, she has to use up all her energy somehow. To run around the playground and make a mess in the mud, or to even just fake wrestle for a short while. Let her be a child when she wants, I'll say. becomes too much, just bribe her with sweets and ship her back to her papa. Problem solved. Unfortunately, Hana isn't quite up for those sort of things most of the time. I think it'll spoil the child. Turns the whole playdate awkward every time. Taking the last seat left, I pluck one of her colouring books from the table to see it filled with dinosaurs. Not exactly what I expect to see for a little girl, but it doesn't hurt anyone. If she wants to play with dolls and cars, or dolls with their cars, what do I care? She once put dolls' tutus on model cars even.
Oh, this is a new one. The last one you had was filled with horses, wasn't it?
Those were ponies, Tio. They're much cuter than horses. But we went to a dinosaur zoo, and it was awesome!
Jurassic Park?
Dinosaurs are my favorite.
I have no idea what that is, but it must be something. I'm only familiar with the T-Rex myself.
Yeah, they found, fossils of its claws. They're really long. They think the whole theory might be a bazillion meters tall, even bigger than a T-Rex. Cisa says it'll be big enough to eat all of my classmates.
Whoa, that's an evil face. She only laughs as I scrunch up my nose and grimace.
Takako says you're making a really funny face.
Taka who?
Takako, a friend I made.
I have to stop and look around, expecting one of the help to be there. The child does have a way of befriending just about anyone, as long as she puts her mind to it. Yet the two of us are completely alone. Thankfully, she only finds my disturbed look as another funny, grown-up expression. That might be a lot more problematic than whether she plays with dolls or cars, though. Both the thoughts of Cisa giving Kylie ideas, and one of said ideas being massacre by dinosaur. Something I probably need to bring up with her father, aside from work. But beyond murderous dinosaurs, creepy dolls, and imaginary friends, I find no trouble with Kylie. She's as energetic and precocious as any tyke her age can be. She's an angel if she can get comfy and settled in after getting her sweets. We tuck into our waffles as soon as food is brought in. Our waffles, because she wanted her own plate to go with the ice cream as soon as she saw mine. A fresh plate of berries is brought in as well, which really goes great with the rest of this feast, as Kylie puts it. And if I indulge in the sweetness, I have a cup of black coffee to pair it off with. With our bellies full, Kylie grows content with just scribbling on a scrap of paper and calmly chatting about her week. She talks of her older brother Rowan and their parents, how they plan to go to the Bloxland in Berkshire for the winter holidays. She mentions Miss Pink, Rebecca, which I listen to with half an ear. Every time I read that name, I feel guilty. Our initial meeting had been a mess, but I can't quite find myself to listen to her stories about her teacher wholeheartedly, the phantom sting in my hand still itching. She talks of the sad man in the park, and of her new friend who likes to play hide-and-seek when she's not sniffing in the loo. When, finally, she finds nothing new to talk about, she goes back to her drawings. That'll change as soon as her stomach settles, of course, the calm before the storm. Because, behaved as she is right now, I can feel the curiosity just radiating off her. There's a restlessness buzzing under her skin, and a question on the tip of her tongue, as they often are with children her age. But for now, I can take this piece with no complaint for however long it stays. I have fun with the crayons as well, at the child's insistence, even if I can't really draw. With Kylie using the black crayon, that leaves me with the blue one. I absent-mindedly start to draw a puppy to the best of my abilities. It's as I attempt to give the doodle dogs another eye that Kylie breaks her silence.
Tio? Where did Tia go? I saw them leave when I got here. Tia didn't look so good.
I've been expecting a lot of different questions. The kid always has a bunch of them ready for me, but I can only sigh when she posed this particular one.
She's just going to the doctor's for a checkup.
Yeah, she's gone to the doctor's, but then later that night she's appeared at the stairwell with the ghost behind her. She must have come back. And as kids go, there are follow-up questions.
And you didn't go with her?
Well, you were going to be here, sweetie, so I had to stay behind.
So she's all alone? At the hospital?
Oh, no, of course not. Tia has Johans and her maid and a guard. She's got plenty of company.
Yeah, but you're not with her.
If I didn't know better, I'd say the kid is trying to make me feel guilty. Though I don't know if the bitter taste in my mouth is that or something else entirely. I really don't have time to process what the emotion is as the brat opens her mouth again.
You should have gone with her to the hospital. Hospitals are scary, you know.
Yeah, we're just not on good terms at the moment.
Exactly why I didn't go. I don't like hospitals, Kylie. That's all there is to it.
That, too.
So you're not angry at Tia?
Why would I be angry at her? It isn't her fault she got sick.
I heard you and Tia are fighting. I heard that you might not be together anymore.
I have to stop her there. Sure, it's easy for people to jump to conclusions and presume that we might be fighting, no thanks to Rochelle. But it's not common knowledge that things have actually gone sour, and, to put it in her terms, that we might not be together anymore.
Oh, well, where did you hear this from?
I heard it from a nice maid lady. But that's still no excuse. Not when she's sick. She needs someone to hold her hand, and bring her soup, and make her drink medicine.
I'm livid. Livid that one of my employees might gossip. And to a child of all people. Who says such upsetting things to a child? But my anger dies out when Kylie starts to tear up. She holds it back in an effort to not seem so childish, I assume. Though I'm honestly confused as to why such news would upset her so.
Oh, no. Look, Kylie, there's no need to cry.
I'm not going to cry.
Are you sure? You've got no reason to cry. Even if Hana and I won't be together anymore, you can still visit me and I can still visit you.
That's not the problem. Why don't you and Tia love each other anymore?
I still love her, Munchkin, and I'd like to think your Tia still does too.
Isn't that the truth? I love her. I'm just total shite at showing it. And a small part of me screams that I was not worthy to be her husband in the first place, no matter how hard I deny it. Perhaps in another time, another place, another me, I would have confessed that the whole world is nothing compared to her.
So why are you two fighting? You grown-ups are so stupid sometimes.
Why? Because I'm a prat, probably. Motioning for her to come closer, I wrap my arms around her and rub her back in an attempt to comfort the child. Only when I feel her tears soak into my jacket though I realize there might be something else to her worries. I've heard Suarez is not getting along too well with his wife as of late, because of how busy he is with work. Really, I was wholly tempted to just brush her question off and say that it's a grown-up thing. I could content myself in pretending that this isn't happening, but it seems like she needs to hear this. That just makes it all the more painful to try and explain this, because I have to explain it not only for Kylie, but also for myself.
Sometimes, people fall out of love. Or they think they've fallen out of love and need time apart. It's not necessarily a bad thing. They might be angry at each other, or they might feel sad. They need time for themselves, to think about each other. To know if there is still love. Maybe they'll be back together again. Or maybe it's better for both of them to move on, instead of staying together and hurting each other pretending they still love each other.
There's nothing final, but here we are, at a crossroads, where the wrong step might end in heartbreak. Hana thinks we need some time apart, but we aren't done just yet.
But yes, grown-ups can be rather stupid.
You're still gonna be my friend? No matter what, Teal?
As long as you don't show me a creepy face, I'll be happy to stay your friend.
Of course, my life would be less exciting without a little brat like you running around and making a mess of it. And you better stay my friend, even when I get all old and wrinkly.
Kylie's shoulders shakes in laughter as she pulls away and gives me a toothy grin.
You're already old! But don't worry, when you die, I'll burn you and put you in a jar so I can keep you forever! Just like they did with Abuelo!
That's so charming. My thoughts come to a grinding halt at her words, yet she goes on as if she doesn't just said such an odd thing. Why, it almost seems like the tiger's looking forward to my funeral. As if there's no confused expression on my face, she pulls me back to our drawings, commenting on the state of my weird dog.
I think your puppy would look better in magenta.
I don't think I can spend any more time with Kylie considering how high-strung I feel. Alright, let's check out the journal. We're nearing midnight again. With Hana away for a checkup, Luke was left alone to watch over his godchild Kylie Suarez. However, what was supposed to be a simple babysitting turned awkward when the precocious child began spouting bizarre things. That doll has me curious. So it's a good thing that Suarez came for her as soon as I've called. Though it is earlier than the agreed upon time, he voices no complaint. The bastard even has a look of relief as soon as they left. Or at least I interpret it as such from where I've stood by one of the windows, not bothering to step out and greet the man. No doubt he still doesn't trust me around his spawn. Well, he has every right to be suspicious of me. I am a dangerous man, after all. But to my chagrin, that leaves me with the rest of the day with nothing to do. Well, aside from picking up the mess Kylie left scattered about in the parlour. To my immense relief, she remembered to take her doll home with her this time. But the same cannot be said of the crayons and papers littered here and there. Oh, what did she draw? First things first, I snatch my own doodle off the table and rip it to shreds, leaving no hope that it'll see the light of day. The rest of the drawings, all Kylie's, remain unharmed as I collect the lot. Though they had been stacked neatly on the table before, they must have blown about when I saw Kylie off. And there are plenty of them. From cats and cakes to colourful rainbows and gardens, the child managed to make a lot during her morning here. There's one more that I have to fish out of the fireplace where it landed. expecting to see another one of Kylie's masterpiece. I'm instead greeting with something a bit more concerning. There's me. And there's Kylie. The two of us side by side and smiling as our stick figure selves stand in a nondescript field. That much I can ascertain without looking at the labels below the doodle's feet. But a third figure stands next to me in the drawing. A woman with her face hidden behind a curtain of black. Takako. The writing under her supplies.
Takako says you're making a really funny face.
Taka who?
One big happy family?
Takako, a friend I made.
The hairs on the back of my neck stand on end, and I feel a chill go down my spine.